The second One Piece movie, Clockwork Island Adventure, is actually much better than I expected. This movie was released on March 3rd, 2001, and came out the same week that Crocodile explained his plans for Alabasta to Vivi in the manga, and some weird filler nonsense about Battleship Island aired in the anime. I recently reviewed the first One Piece movie, and while I thought it had some charm, ultimately, it felt more like a 2-episode filler story. While Clockwork Island Adventure is about the same length as One Piece the movie, it has a starkly different feel that I was pleasantly surprised by. Right away, it was clear that the budget for this movie was higher than the first one. The animation looks and feels much smoother and more professional than what was airing in the anime at the same time. Also, unlike movie 1, this doesn't start with the anime opening theme song, but instead cold opens with the Straw Hats on a beach, with only the sound of a wind-up toy gear ticking as the credits overlap the animation. This isn't mind-blowing stuff, but I thought it was a nice touch to differentiate it stylistically from the anime. It just felt smooth. It's impossible to say when exactly the events of this movie could take place. Luffy does have his 30 million berry bounty, and Nami is rocking her pinwheel tangerine tattoo, so it is after Arlong Park. They never mention which sea they are in, so it could be in the Grand Line, but Vivi isn't around. If I wanted to try and fit this somewhere into the canon, which I probably shouldn't, I'd say this takes place sometime after Logtown, but before Reverse Mountain. I suppose it could fit right in with the weird anime filler that was airing at the same time. Either way, I'm thinking too hard about this. This movie begins with the Straw Hats lounging around on the beach and the Going Merry is stolen. They are all forced to travel on this dinghy and wear wedding clothes that they were able to buy for cheap. This is when they are captured by the Thief Brothers, who are really just amateur scavengers with big dreams. The biggest of which is to steal the diamond clock from Clockwork Island, the most expensive clock in the world, which Nami also knows about because, as was established in the previous movie, if there's treasure, she knows about it. These brothers inform the Straw Hats that the Trump pirates were probably the ones who stole the Going Merry. I suppose there's a cheesy, self-indulgent, and played-out political joke in there somewhere, but let's be better than that. This is where the Trump siblings show up and we see some sexy Trump rump. They then kidnap Nami for their Bear King boss, who wants to be king of the pirates, and head back to their base, which so happens to be on Clockwork Island. Pretty quickly, we get the main driving forces for this movie established. Everyone has a clear motivation to head to this island. Sanji wants Nami back, Usopp wants the Merry, Zoro wants his swords, and Luffy wants his hat. Obviously, they all want Nami back, but you know what I mean. The Thief Brothers are Akasu and Borodo. We're told that Borodo found Akasu as a baby and took him in. The only thing that he had with him was a music box that plays that lullaby song from the anime. I have no proof of this, and I'm not going to scan every episode of One Piece before this movie was aired, but I'm thinking that the song actually originated in this movie since it has such plot significance, and the anime later adopted it. The first time I can remember hearing this song in the anime is during Drum Island, so the timing makes sense there. Just a little bit of trivia for you. Akazu is also really good at tinkering with machines, and starts fixing the wind-up toy Luffy found at the beginning of the movie. I also think he may have invented the YouTube like button, so why don't you give it a smash if you're enjoying the video? I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Meanwhile, Nami is taken before the Bear King, and we meet the rest of the Trump pirates. There is Honey Queen, Bojack, Skunk One, Pin Joker, and Bear King. The theme here is obviously a deck of playing cards, which would be used later in canon for the Don Quixote family, and I think the designs are pretty fun. Bear King sees Nami and wants to marry her, but she makes up excuses why she won't marry him, saying that she only likes strong guys, and he isn't as strong as Luffy. It's simple enough, but a good way to get the main antagonist invested in the coming conflict. It's also interesting to note that this Nami marriage plotline happened far earlier in the film universe compared to when it would pop up in canon 5 years later with Thriller Bark. The design of Clockwork Island is actually pretty damn cool. The town is situated atop this massive staircase that reaches high into the clouds. The stairs are filled with traps, but don't worry, because the boys just bum rush through them all and make it to the top pretty quickly. In the town itself, we meet only 2 people, and they are upset with the current state of the island. They used to be able to tinker and make whatever they wanted, but since the Trump pirates came, they have been forced to make weapons for Bear King in his effort to become king of the pirates. Also, it's fairly clear right away that these 2 are Akazu's parents. The squad heads to Trump Castle, and this is where we get our good old-fashioned fights! First up, Sanji gets absolutely fucked. I thought it was pretty interesting that throughout this movie, there's a pretty strong focus on Sanji's footwear. It's implied that he's injuring his feet while he fights because he's not wearing shoes. This was a bit strange to me. It never seemed like Sanji's shoes had anything to do with his dumb, powerful attacks, but I guess it's not a bad idea. Regardless, a spike ball goes right through his precious feeties and he's captured. The pacing of this part of the movie feels really breakneck fast and pretty much makes zero sense. While everyone is still racing to the castle, Sanji is brought before the Bear King, makes a remark about rubbing lotion on Nami's body, and is crucified. At the gates of the palace, Skunk One is waiting with his paralyzing gas. Usopp jumps up and, you guessed it, sucks on that skunk hole so that everyone can push ahead. Inside the castle, Luffy and Zoro are trapped, and it's here that Boruto admits he was the one who stole the Mary and brought it to Clockwork Island, somehow, in order to get the Strats to fight and defeat the Trumps for Akizu's sake, because he believes this is Akizu's home. The plan doesn't make much sense, but I guess just don't think about it. He abandons them, and this is when Pin Joker arrives to confront Zoro. He is someone that Zoro apparently fought in the past and got beat pretty badly by. Also, his character-specific gag of constantly saying the wrong word in common phrases was actually pretty good. His needles are infused with the paralyzing gas, and Zoro is taken down, and is crucified. This leaves Luffy in the time-honored position of being stuck so he can stay out of the action. Meanwhile, Bear King is about to use his new weapon, the King Cannon, to kill the Straw Hats when Boruto shows up to stop him, but is easily fucked up right away. Like it's not even a fight. Akizu steps up to help him, but also gets smacked, which causes him to drop Luffy's wind-up toy, which lands right in front of Luffy, which causes him to rage boost up through the floor and start the final battle. Everyone gets a pretty good rematch with their designated opponents, except for Nami, who just traps the water bitch in a jar. The final fight with Bear King was entertaining enough. The real turning point comes when Bear King mocks Akizu's bravery, which gives Luffy another rage boost, and he hits him with a gum-gum screw to save the day. At the end of the movie, Clockwork Island is destroyed, but luckily, all the ships had parachutes on them for some reason, so all the citizens and the Strats gently fall down to the sea. Again, I thought this was pretty interesting. This is obviously not exactly the same thing as Skypiea, but it is an adventure up in the clouds, and the Going Merry does have to fall a great distance to get back down to the sea. There is some creative overlap with this movie and future events in the series that I find to be pretty fun. Anyway, Akizu is reunited with his parents when the music box is revealed, and that's all well and good, but he decides to keep on thieving with Boruto. The end. Overall, I enjoyed this movie a lot more than the previous one. It felt like an actual movie adventure with a fun new setting that, although isn't canon, does feel like it fits into the One Piece universe. I thought that all the villains were fun and all the Straw Hats got enough time to shine, although something does feel off about Sanji in this movie. It isn't bad, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but it almost feels like they didn't know how to use him compared to the other characters. Also, unlike the previous movie, I do feel like this one was lacking a cohesive theme, but that's really the only thing the previous movie did better. Honestly, the biggest problem with this movie for me came in the second half. It just felt really rushed. I think it would have benefited from an extra 15 minutes at least. It could have been fun to explore Clockwork Island a little bit more, and I think this would have been helpful in making the charge up to the castle feel a lot less jarring. Some more time to let moments breathe would have made a smoother viewing experience, in my opinion. With all that said, I think Clockwork Island Adventure is a solid 7 out of 10 on the scale of 2000s out of canon anime movies. What did you think about this movie? How do you view it compared to the first one? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. My One Piece movie reviews continue tomorrow with Chopper's Kingdom on the Island of Strange Animals. Woo! Until then, I'll shut up.